Kansas City Royals have been dealt a bad hand against the Rangers. For 2 seasons, the Rangers have held the trump card.
And this one is over. The Rangers sweep.
And their chips have been stacked high.
And the Rangers walk it off.
Now, these 2 teams re-up the ante, and the Rangers are seeking a royal flush.
Now the Rangers at risk of being kicked off the table, having won 12 of the last 13. I don't know if the Royals are going to want to play much poker with Texas after that. It has been a great run for the Rangers, hoping to continue it tonight in the opening game of this 4-game series with Kansas City. Welcome in, everybody. Great to be with you once again. I'm Dave Raymond with CJ Nitkowski. The Rangers coming off a fantastic series victory over the Yankees yesterday, a 12-10 win in the finale, and now a team that they have handled well over the last couple of years, and you would suspect they would handle well again if the bats can keep rolling like they were against New York.
Well, certainly you're hoping so, and it was a really good series for the Rangers offensively against a very good team in the New York Yankees. Now, of course, we know the Rangers will hit the long ball. They have done it all year. 7 home runs in that series. They scored 23 runs, but what was so impressive, and Jeff Bannister talked about it today, was the quality of the at-bats, the plate discipline that they showed throughout that series. Really important, laying off a lot of pitches outside of the zone, which we know at times can be a problem for this club.
Okay, so we outlined some of the success the Rangers have had against Kansas City, and it's been impressive these last couple of years. The one thing, though, CJ, is, and this is a team that has struggled this year in Kansas City, but it's a very different-looking team than in years past.
The roster is a lot different, and this really was anticipated. You look to what they had last year, and a lot of guys that were going to be free agents this offseason, and they're not all back, and a lot of them have left. And we're going to start with Eric Hosmer, the first baseman there so long and a team leader with the Kansas City Royals. He is now in San Diego. Lorenzo Cain, the MVP from the ALCS, well, he now is in Milwaukee. Jason Vargas, 18 wins. He's a member of the New York Mets, and Mike Minor, of course, is here now with the Texas Rangers after a very nice season last year in the bullpen with the Royals. But Mike Moustakas is still here, and that's a good thing for the Kansas City Royals. He didn't get the deal that he thought he was going to get in the offseason. He comes back to Kansas City, and he's been crushing it for them. 27 runs, you see it there, 10 home runs, 31 RBIs. Last year, he set a record for the Royals with 38 home runs and really has picked up where he left off a year ago. He has been the juggernaut right now for them in that lineup, and the guy that they got to keep an eye on for these Rangers.
Okay, and the guy keeping an eye on him to start things off today, well, it's a fresh face back with the team. You'll recognize him, though, and if you know me, you know that I'm down with ABD. Austin Bibbins-Dirks back in a Rangers uniform tonight and making the start. We'll put him in the spotlight when we come back.
Rangers baseball is brought to you by Ford. Visit your local Texas Ford dealer today. Ford is the best in Texas. And by Southwest Airlines. Low fares, no hidden fees. That's transparency.
Warm weather is here to stay. Another beautiful and warm evening here in Arlington. Rangers and Royals opening game in a 4-game series at Globe Life Park. Great to have you along with us tonight. Now our Shiner Bach spotlight this evening. Let's talk about him. Great to have him back, Austin Bibbins-Dirks. And he was such a big part of last year's story for the Rangers. The Rookie of the Year, made 6 starts, did well in those starts, pitched in relief extensively as well. As you see with that note, the oldest pitcher in Rangers history at the time of his first big league start. He was a fun story.
Yeah, he certainly was, and he did a good job. It wasn't just that it was a nice feel-good story, but he performed in some big spots. You remember that start that he had against the Washington Nationals? That was a lot of fun to watch. Going up against Max Scherzer, and a lot of people thinking that the Nationals and Scherzer had the advantage, but when it's all said and done, ABD turned out a good one. And then he got the New York Yankees, another really good start against a good lineup, and there have been times, and we saw it last year, where Austin Bibbins-Dirks really came up big. Well, a new opportunity for him in 2018. And with more on Bibbins-Dirks, here's Emily Jones.
Yeah, this is a situation that Austin is very familiar with, having been the Rookie of the Year for these Texas Rangers. Last season, he has been waiting for this opportunity, and so when he started to get wind that it might happen, he started preparing himself to be in this situation. Jeff Bannister says it was an easy decision for them as well. They know what they're going to get from Austin. They know that he can be effective effective in these types of situations. You see his numbers there from Round Rock this season, a 3.72 ERA in 8 starts, and he is ready to go here tonight. Says he had a very nice day yesterday, knowing he was going to come up today. Everything very relaxed and able to maintain the schedule with really no hiccups at all.
So he takes the ball tonight in the opener of this series. Let's take a look at the lineup he will face tonight from Kansas City. The Royals are 16 and 33 overall this year. A real tough start for them. John Jay will lead it off in left. Whit Merrifield in center field. Mike Moustakas the DH. Then it's Perez, Soler, and Dozier at first base. Alcides Escobar plays every day at short. Ryan Goins at second. And Ramon Torres with his first start of the year at third base.
Yeah, they'll be going up against Austin Bibbins-Dirks. And here's the repertoire and the pitch usage from a year ago for Austin. 4-seam fastball, slider, changeup, curveball, and the 2-seam fastball as well. The curveball probably the best of those secondary offerings, just a 156 batting average against big league hitters. Last year, he did not allow any home runs at all on that curveball. Ran into a little bit of trouble with the 4-seamer. Batters hit 354 against that pitch with 8 home runs. And the defense, which is delivered to you by Chicken Express behind Austin Bibbins-Dirks tonight. Joey Gallo, Delano DeShields, and Nomar Mazara in the outfield for the Rangers. And in the infield, Isaiah Kiner-Falefa, Hansa Alberto getting a start at short, Rougned Odor at second, and Ryan Rua at first. And Robinson Chirinos has the catching duties tonight.
All right, with that, Jay, in that leadoff spot, you can see having a good month of May, and that average bumping up closer and closer to 300 every day with him. But he's in a hole here, 0-2. Another warm night, 89 degrees at game time. A little breeze looks like blowing in from right field, although again, it's always a different story once you get down onto the field. 1-2 the count on Jay. 350 on base percentage for the Royals left fielder. Working on a modest 5-game hitting streak, and he takes high 2-2.
John Jay has been a guy that's kind of flown under the radar a little bit among outfielders in the big leagues. The batting average has been very good for him over the years, going back to 2016. He's been hitting .293. Would you believe that is 6th best in the big leagues among outfielders?
Fly ball out to left. Tough play out there in the sunshine momentarily for Gallo. Shades on though, and makes the play. Well, look, if you're going to tell me that, I'll believe it.
You should.
I'm not going to question your data.
I mean, I get at least 85% of what I say correct. So you should probably say there's a good chance that's right.
Yeah.
And that's good in this business.
High probability, yeah. Well, ABD gets his first man, and now Whit Merrifield. They have some guys in this lineup that, you know, represent tough at bats. Merrifield might be top on that list. A 2-hole hitter, and he takes a strike. Now, he struggled in St. Louis. Was 0 for 7 in that series, but he walked 3 times. He was hit by a pitch, helped out with a sacrifice. He takes strike 2. So Bibbins-Dirks got ahead of Jay, 0-2. Same thing here with Merrifield. Austin was 2-3 with a 3.72 ERA with the Express. In the dirt, 1-2. All right, our TXU Energy power player to watch today is Whit Merrifield. Good combination of power and speed. Since the beginning of 2017, 20 more home runs, 40 more stolen bases. He's the only one. 19 homers last year, 4 this year. He's combined for 46 stolen bases in the 2 seasons, and he strikes out here 2 away. So Bibbins-Dirks gets his first strikeout of the season.
Good job by ABD working a very tough hitter in Whit Merrifield. You see the slider grip right there. Stayed up in the zone a little bit. Merrifield tried to check his swing, but you'll see it here. He could not. That bat came all the way around. And with Austin, he's not going to overpower you with what you see on the radar gun, but he mixes, he matches, he changes his arm angle, velocity, plus and minus on all of his pitches. If he was left-handed, we'd say he's a crafty lefty, but he is right-handed, so there's no good real term for the righties.
Well, we haven't come up with it yet. 1-0 to Moustakas. Big rip on that one, and the count 1-1. Well, Moustakas was just 1 for 11 in the Royals' most recent series in St. Louis. A series that Kansas City won. It was their first road series win of the year. And, you know, when you think about the series that Kansas City Royals fans might circle on the schedule, they might want to win. Well, Ned Yost, he picked the right one to win this year, because that's what they want back home in Kansas City, to beat the hated Cardinals. A tough year for Kansas City this year. And Yost, all-time winningest manager in Royals history, now in his 9th season. And while we know this is a bit of a, a transitional season for them, they might not be terribly far off. They're going to have a lot of draft picks coming up this summer. 2-2, and popped straight up behind the plate, and not playable.
No, you're right. It's been a struggle for the Kansas City Royals. 16-33, the overall record. 4th place in what has turned out to be a really weak division in the American League Central. The Cleveland Indians lead that division. They're only 1 game over 500. You see the runs, the ERA, fielding percentage has been good, but it has been an overall struggle here for the Kansas City Royals in 2018. Which has a lot of people saying that this man right here, Mike Moustakas, likely to be wearing a different uniform before the season is over.
2-2 on the way. Hits this ball hard down into the right field corner, and that one will go for extra bases. Moustakas pedaling for 2, and he is in there with a 2-out double. And obviously some Kansas City fans on hand. Some mooses raining down.
Another slider there, and a smaller one with a little bit of depth, and Mike Moustakas is able to drop the head down and in. Usually a pretty good spot for most left-handed hitters as he one hops the wall. I thought Mazar might have had a chance. Moustakas doesn't run particularly well. He came up with an aggressive throw, but it was offline.
That guy has a great arm, but that's a tough one to take the camera. You're back basically to the play. And a breaking ball in there for a strike now to Salvador Perez. He's homered in a couple of games in a row now. 8 home runs for the year. Boy, just an oversized catcher, you think, in a lot of ways. Such a big man. And so durable. Yesterday got a start at first base, and that's a rarity for him. It's a rarity that he is not behind the plate. Any day that he is not back there is a bit of a eyebrow raiser. But I think they're starting to, last year maybe just a little bit, and as we move forward we might see this a little bit more from Ned Yost, backing off that just a touch, because it's a lot of work for him to absorb.
Well, it certainly is, and he had that year when they made their World Series run where he caught more innings with any catcher in history. And obviously the postseason is a lot longer, but from the beginning of the season until the end of the postseason. And you're right, they probably do need to back off here a little bit. That is a lot of mileage on the body. It certainly is hot there in Kansas City, much like it is here middle of summer. Say that is a rarity. Him seeing this many pitches.
Yeah.
20% of his at-bats have lasted 1 pitch. 1.
Well, and you don't want to put it in the strike zone because he's going to swing regardless. So it seems. 1-2. And he holds off on that one. 2-2 the count. Now he is very much a free swinger. an aggressive hitter.
That's 1 out of every 5 plate appearances lasts a single pitch. It's pretty amazing. It's only the second highest in Major League Baseball, if you can believe that.
Who's the highest?
You know, I should probably know that,
I'm
Dave.
sorry.
I don't have it in front of me. I only have so much paper.
2-2 the count. I bet whomever it is, I bet it's a good hitter. This one ripped foul. I was having a long conversation today with Justin Mayshore, Rangers assistant hitting coach. We're talking about working the count, the strikeout numbers in baseball, and attacking pitchers, right? All kind of different subjects in and of themselves and yet related. He said, look, you know, the facts are this. The best pitch you're going to get might very well be, is more likely going to be the first pitch you see. And the good hitters, you look at the good hitters, they're oftentimes attacking that first pitch. Problem is, if you don't get it, then people complain. That one got a piece of Salvador Perez, and he will head down to first. So Bibbins-Sturks loses him on a 2-2 pitch.
That didn't feel very good for Salvador Perez. It's a changeup. You see Austin turning it over, and it had good depth, but he just started a little bit too low as it caught that left foot of Salvador Perez. Aledmys Diaz is the answer to that.
Oh, okay.
23%.
So Perez able to smile about it now. Moustakas, who was off and running, had to go back to second. And now here is Soler. He takes a strike. Jorge Soler. And boy, this is a name that has been bandied about now for a handful of years. On the north side of Chicago, now in Kansas City. Decent numbers now, a .288 average, 5 homers. Today with the start in right field. A lot of promise, a lot of potential. He's in a hole 0-2.
And he came over in that Wade Davis deal last year, and he had a pretty abysmal season in 2017. Hit just 144. OPS was 503. Think about league average being 750. It just wasn't there for him in the 35 games that he played. He was going up and down. Missed some time with a strained left oblique. Just an ugly year last year for Soler. He's been a lot better this year, though.
Similar to Perez, man, it just hit in front of him. He has a long reputation for being aggressive at the plate, maybe chasing out of the zone a little bit. He's done a better job this year drawing walks. But still striking out at a pretty high clip. The 1-2 from Bibbins-Sturks, and a swing and a miss. He strikes out Soler, and the inning is done. So Austin Bibbins-Sturks back in a Rangers uniform, and he authors a scoreless top of the first. Rangers starting lineup tonight. Rangers now 20-31. Delano DeShields up top in center field. Shin-Soo Choo the DH. Then it's Isaiah Kiner-Falefa at third. Nomar Mazara, Ryan Rua, Joey Gallo in the heart of things today. Chirinos catching, Odor at second, and Hanser Alberto the shortstop.
And the Rangers will get the lefty Danny Duffy this evening, and it has been a rough go of it so far for Duffy with the Royals. Let's take a look at the pitch arsenal, what he has done, what he has used this year. 4-seam fastball 39% of the time. Sliders and changeups, 2-seam fastballs, a very occasional curveball that he'll throw once in a while. And it really has been a struggle all the way around for Danny Duffy. Home runs have been an issue, walks have been an issue. When you dig into that repertoire, no real pitches sticking out. The best batting average, or I should say the lowest, is against his 4-seam fastball, but that's at 236 this year.
Gets one into DeShields and just misses. It's 1-1. Delano looking to get things going on the offensive side. Had a hit yesterday, stole a base, scored a couple of runs. And he shoots this one to the right side, base hit. So Delano with a single to start things tonight. That's a nice beginning.
Delano Shields has done such a nice job here in the leadoff spot. We know the year he had last season, and he gets himself nice ground ball base hit, hits that ball hard to the right side. It was completely open, and this is something that he has done extremely well. Look at that, going back to the beginning of last year when he hits the ball on the ground. 391 batting average, at his second best in Major League Baseball.
So now a threat to run, but you have to be careful with Duffy. Pitch to Chu in there for a strike. Chu in at 255 with 6 home runs. Lately doing a really steady job getting on base. He takes a pitch off the plate, 1-1 the count. So this is our AARP take on today's game, and it is Chu against Duffy. 3 for 9 with 2 RBIs. And whoa, that one bounces in the dirt up in Chu's face. DeShields tries for 2 and he's thrown out. Wow, a lot going on right there.
No world.
That one in the dirt, banked up off the dirt and off Chu's face.
Let's see this breaking ball. You're going to see it down in the dirt. Salvador Perez, it hits the heel of his glove and then catches Chu right in the face. Otherwise, that ball would have bounced much further away, and there would have been no play at second base, and nothing you could do here, nothing worth reviewing. That ball is still alive, but oh my goodness. That's probably the last thing that Chu is thinking about, that that ball's going to come back up at him. Punch in the face to start your day.
Oh, a sock to the gut too, losing to Shields off the bases, so that's no good at all. It's a pitch off the plate. It's 3-1.
That's a bad break for the Rangers, because Delano DeShields would have had second base easily had that ball not hit Chu. Right, something I've never seen before in that book. You're writing that in the book right now. You're not going to believe what happened today.
Dear book. Don't run when it bounces off your teammate's face. So Chu takes the walk. Brings up Isaiah Kiner-Falefa. Duffy, you mentioned it, the number's not good. His 11th start, 1 win, 6 losses. That's tied for most in Major League Baseball. Of course, when you think about wins and losses, we say it all the time, team dependent stat. I mean, Dallas Keuchel is tied with him with 6 losses. Ball 1 to Kiner-Falefa.
Yeah, he just hasn't pitched well. I mean, as far as looking at that win-loss record, it's a high ERA, and he's got an unbelievable run support. 6.4 runs per game. But when you have a 6.88 ERA, you're not going to win very many ball games.
You see the numbers. 45 strikeouts in 51 innings pitched, but 25 walks and the 14 home runs. That's a bad combination for any pitcher. 2-1 the count on Kiner-Falefa. Duffy, a guy who signed a fairly team-friendly deal before last season, and I mean he's a well-loved player among the Royals fan base. Inside, 3-1. The old "bury me a Royal" mantra that he rolled out there, and he wants to be a Kansas City Royal. Loves being a Royal. Of course, has been there for some pretty good years, but he signed a 5-year deal prior to last season. This one shanked foul, and it's a full count on Isaiah Kiner-Falefa. 260 average, couple of home runs. Yesterday, 2 hits, including a triple. He drove in 3. That's a career high. Just another outstanding night for the rookie. And he dribbles this one first base side. It's going to be a foot race with Duffy, and Duffy just does beat him. 3-1 put out, moves Chu to second base, but they're 2 away.
This is a tough play, especially when you know Kiner Falefa is going to come down the line pretty quickly. Danny Duffy with zero hesitation gets there in time, and a good flip from Dozier, and he easily beats Kiner Falefa, and then almost gives himself a little umpire to deal with as well.
Good open field blocking by Jeff Kellogg. So runner in scoring position. Chu out there at second. And Nomar Mazara, 274 average, 11 home runs. One of a handful of left-handed hitters in the lineup against Duffy. Duffy very good against lefties. But Mazara and the Rangers not shying away from that. He takes a strike.
And it's probably the one bright spot so far this season for Danny Duffy. 200 batting average against lefties, and of the 14 home runs that he has allowed this year, only one of them have come to a left-handed hitter. 13 to righties.
Our Kubota power stats tonight. Talking about Danny Duffy, and you look at that, a 179 opponent's average. Left-handed batter since 2016. That's second best in all of baseball. And a hard ground ball up the middle, snared by Escobar, and he does get Mazara. The inning is done. So no runs, one Rangers hitting a man left. We've played one inning. We're scoreless. Lost their lives in service to our country. American flags on display on the North Lawn this weekend to honor our heroes. Fans looking to make a donation to honor loved ones with a commemorative flag should visit TexasRangers.com/heroes. All those proceeds will benefit Texas Rangers Baseball Foundation's nonprofit military partners. Check it out again, TexasRangers.com/heroes. Second inning, no score here. Hunter Dozier takes one up and away. It's 1-1. See the numbers for Dozier. This is just his 10th game with the Royals. First round pick in 2013. In fact, the 8th pick overall in that draft. He's had to deal with some injuries in recent years. Pops this one up into right field. Playable out there for Mazara. One away. Bring up Alcides Escobar, Royals shortstop, and his numbers this year right in line with what he has done against the Rangers over the years. Royals have played 49 games, so has Escobar. In fact, he's played now in 382 consecutive games, and that is the longest active streak in baseball by a wide margin, right? I mean, by a really wide margin. And it's a nice streak, but he's got a ways to go.
You think Cal's getting nervous?
I don't.
I think you're probably right.
1-0 pitch.
Put it on the unbreakable lists without a doubt for Cal Ripken Jr.
Freddie Galvis. Freddie Galvis is second on that list, which you know, I would have failed both those trivia questions.
Yeah.
Who's top? Who's next? Galvis at a little over 212 consecutive games.
That's amazing.
Now,
the game has changed. I mean, it was just I mean, listen, nobody was going to break that record anyway, but now especially the way that we look at games and rest, I feel like I hear more and more managers talking about scheduled off days, like they're thinking about it ahead of time. Jurickson Profar is getting one of those tonight, and it's because teams have done their research and trying to get the most out of their players. And that means not playing every day is the best way to do it.
So Ripken, a Hall of Famer.
Yep.
I mean, do you think his numbers could have been appreciably better had he taken a handful of days here and there? I guess it stands to reason, right?
I would think based on what we know now and the work that we do, I think absolutely it's a fair assumption that he'd be feeling a little bit better and that he might have been feeling a little bit stronger over the years at certain times. When you think about playing 162 games in your age 36 season and a demanding position in the outfield, I mean, that's what he was doing. He's got a fun Baseball Reference page to look at. Starting in 1983 all the way to 2001. There's a star next to every single year.
Slow bouncer at third. Barehand Kiner Falefa. Nice pick at first base. And they take care of Escobar. What great defense on both ends right there. Kiner Falefa again doing a great job. And a super pick by Rua.
And check out Adrian Beltre even appreciating the work that Kiner Falefa just did. This is great awareness, understanding that your only play here is to barehand this ball. If he catches it with his glove, the exchange is probably going to be too slow with Escobar running, and so he takes that do or die chance. See how nice and wide his hand is as he's going to grab that ball. You basically try to turn your bare hand into a glove as much as you possibly can. You got a really good grip, and then on the other side of things, Ryan Rua does a great job on the scoop.
Goins takes high. It looked pretty fun down there, Emily.
Yeah, and Adrian Beltre and Isaiah Kiner Falefa have developed quite a relationship, and Isaiah really trying to take in everything he possibly can from Adrian, and Adrian giving him all he wants. And so you see them interact in between innings in the bench, in the dugout, and it's fun to see the reaction from Adrian there because it was genuine.
Goins delivers one to center field. Second hit of the evening for Kansas City. Yeah, some genuine enthusiasm there from Adrian.
It's good to see. I mean, that is always right. Your biggest concern. You think about what the Rangers have had to deal with injuries, and especially to the left side of the infield. No Elvis Andrus, no Adrian Beltre. I mean, that is just fantastic defense that you don't have. And Isaiah Kiner Falefa has slid in and done a really nice job at third. Jurickson Profar has taken on most of the innings at short. He's done a very nice job. Hanser Alberto's out there tonight, but that's one area where they haven't missed much of a beat. I'm not going to say that they're at that level just yet, of course. I mean, the idea of being as good as Adrian Beltre and Elvis Andrus are, that'd probably be a little hyperbolic, but they have done an extremely good job, and Kiner Falefa continues to impress.
Well, Ramon Torres, his first at bat of the year, fouls one off the count, 1-1. It's a guy who was called up almost a week ago, but is just now seeing his first action of the season. Last year, got 74 at bats in 33 games with the Royals. 25 years old, out of the Dominican. It's 2-1. Steve Hunt, our fabulous statistician, handing me a note. He just got off the phone with Elias Sports Bureau. Officially, that was the first hyphenated third baseman to bail out a hyphenated starting pitcher with a great barehanded play at third.
They don't miss anything over there.
No, that's in the record books.
I mean, just how about something as simple as hyphenated teammates? Have there been? There can't be that many, right?
There have only been a couple, as I understand it, in baseball. Like
teammates, or just hyphenated ever?
No, I think hyphenated ever. I think
yeah,
like maybe 1 or 2 hands worth that we could count. Somebody no doubt has this information. I don't. Off the plate. Wow, on the corner, 2-2 to Torres.
I mean, I can't think of any. Ryan Roland Smith.
Yeah.
Former pitcher with the Seattle Mariners. He's now a broadcaster with them. Does some pre and post, some radio, some TV.
The 2-2, and this one shot back up the middle. That's a base hit. Oh, and it gets by Delano DeShields. Goins had stopped at second, but he can take off now. I'll wave him all the way into third base, and now being waved Torres. Here comes the throw, the tag, and he's safe. Torres circles the bases on a sharp line drive up the middle that just got past Delano DeShields.
Jeff Bannister is going to ask the umpiring crew to hold on a second. They want to get a look at this, but that was some very impressive speed from Torres. Watch Delano DeShields right here. Just misses this ball. He had his head down. He just missed it. But look at the wheels here. See, go and score, but Torres, it's pretty unbelievable. I gotta tell you, this is close. Watch this guy take off. I mean, hard hit single, no doubt. And you see a little bit of that snaking action on the ball. It's a really good look at it right there on the short grass here in Texas. That happens. You see that a lot. You're out there even shagging ground balls. That could be a little bit tough.
Another roller up the middle. Profar is there, and he throws out John Jay to win the inning. Oh, a wild play. That one past Delino, and the Royals lead 2-0.
Hit Torres, but look, you're going to get a good look at this ball just kind of shaking a little bit. We call it snaking out there, almost like a snake in the grass, and it got by Delino to Shields, and it turned into a 2-out inside the park Little League style home run. That led to those 2 runs unearned for Austin Bibbins-Dirks. It's kind of a tough break. Ball was well hit, but just had that movement on it, and Delino's seen it before. A lot of balls that will get hit hard, ground balls will do that.
A single and a 3-base error. And so the first 2 runs of this series are in. Now the Rangers will have to come back tonight. Rua, Gallo, Chirinos in this 2nd inning. Ryan playing first base today, 163 average on the year with a couple of homers. 0-2 the count. Interesting, Rua continues to get starts at first base for the Rangers. Started the year as the opening day left fielder. Gallo is taking that spot over. Rua getting the lion's share of his playing time at a different position.
Well, especially when you get the opportunity with some left-handed pitching. We know, of course, the Rangers are left-handed heavy, and so between Ronald Guzman and Joey Gallo, they're going to kind of stay in their positions for the most part. And when they have a lefty starter, one of those guys is going to get a day off, and Ryan Rua is going to play some first or left field.
Fly ball out to right. Soler takes care of it. 1 away here in the 2nd inning. Well, it is Star Wars weekend. It's officially underway, CJ. The first 15,000 fans on Saturday are going to get a Star Wars Han Gallo bobblehead, courtesy of Medical City Healthcare. That's Saturday, 3:05 game. Rangers and Royals. Get your tickets at TexasRangers.com.
Spitting image. Except that the Hans Gallo probably needed to be a little bit taller.
Maybe a little stronger. Gallo with 14 home runs now. 31 RBIs. Batting 6th tonight.
Thought it was interesting, the conversation that you were having with Justin Mayshore and talking about that first strike maybe being the best one that you get. That's something I think that would probably apply pretty well to Joey Gallo. Now that one right there was a pretty tough pitch. Hit 95 miles an hour on the corner. But I say that with him because if you look at the trend, 2 strikes have been an issue for Joey. And once he gets to that 2-strike count, he's hitting just .064. That's the lowest number in Major League Baseball right now. So I wonder if the idea of getting a little bit more aggressive earlier, not that he's not aggressive, but because of those struggles with 2 strikes, and Jeff Bannister's talked about the 2-strike approach for this team, that if jumping on that first strike that you see aggressively, not that I'm the guy that should be giving Joey Gallo any hitting advice, but you look at the numbers and this is what happens. We look at trends and what's happening in the game. You look at pitchers that struggle on first pitch, right? High batting averages against, and you come up with your game plan accordingly.
Comes up empty here, and that's the first strikeout of the night for Danny Duffy. Now let's hear from our friends at Southwest Kia.
$250 down, $250 a month or less on select new Kias in stock, only at southwestkia.com.
So Duffy worked around a couple of base runners in the first inning. It's a fly ball out and a strikeout here in the second. And the left-hander will work against Robinson Chirinos. Robbie batting 7th tonight, and he takes strike 1. Hitless in his last 9 at bats. 1-1 the count. But Chirinos, if you want to look at it, you know, a different way, last 7 games he has played, he's gotten on base at a .393 clip. It's very good. 4 walks in there. 2-1 the count. So if you're getting on base at a better than league average, and let's face it, he's got the 6 home runs. It's been a little while, and he can get on hot stretches now and again, but just keep getting on base, doing a great job behind the plate, and then when you run into one every now and then, it's great. It's gravy. 2-1, and that'll even it up.
Good changeup from Danny Duffy and a fastball count. Robinson Chirinos has been pretty good against lefties in most seasons. And certainly the power is something is an opportunity to display against those lefties, and Duffy, well aware of that, went to the off speed instead of the fastball in that 2-1 count.
Fly ball to the right side, well out of play. Kansas City jumps out first tonight. 2 early runs, scoring on an error. Chirinos takes strike 3 called. So really nice half inning for Danny Duffy as he works 1, 2, 3 through the Rangers. We've played 2. So we take a cool look at some of those American flags out there on the north lawn here at the ballpark. T-Mobile's hats off for heroes. Ian Kennedy, he's a great one, supporter of VFW, USO. Folds of honor, their mission, honor their sacrifice, educate their legacy. What a great group. He does a lot for military partners in the off seasons. His first pitch swung on and lined out to left. Gallo tracks that one down cleanly, 1 away. Ian Kennedy, and we are scheduled to see him in this series. He'll pitch in Saturday's game against Bartolo Colon, the birthday boy.
45 years old today.
Yeah.
How about it?
Wearing his birthday hat.
Yeah. Seems pretty excited.
He looks content. I love it. Little tapper foul by Moustakas.
It's kind of warm, right, to have the hoodie on. 45. I'm 45. Drives me crazy. It's amazing what he is doing at 45 years old.
I think it's amazing what you're doing at 45 years old.
My wrist is killing me.
Carpal tunnel over there.
I'm trying to work the iPad. I struggle to get out of bed every day. This dude's getting big league hitters out still.
Bibbins Dirks with a nice one there to Moustakas. Gets ahead of him 0-2.
And how about how beloved he is right there. Martin Perez has really formed a nice bond with Bartolo Colon. It's a great conversations. And listen, the idea of talking to veterans that have been there and done that, continue to get it done. Martin Perez is no rookie, but he certainly understands the value of having a guy like Bartolo around.
Oh, and that's a scene, we see pretty much every day.
Yep.
Guys circled around the oracle that is Bartolo Colon, telling stories, offering advice. 1-2. We'll do it again. There's the happy Bartolo. So he'll join Nolan Ryan on Saturday. It's the only other Ranger to play a game after the age 45. But even since 1961, only 12 different men his age have pitched in the big leagues. Swing and a miss, and Moustakas down on strikes. 3rd strikeout for Austin Bibbins Dirks. How about some of the highlights?
Just 1 walk.
Former Montreal Expo. Of course, they no longer exist. Great years with the Indians, including a Cy Young. Of course, Oakland, Boston.
That's about as expressive as he gets right there.
Yeah.
That little smile we saw. Pitch with a few teams. There's that two-seam fastball. The trademark of Bartolo Colon.
Ground ball, shortstop. And handled cleanly by Hanser Alberto. Salvador Perez down on one pitch.
There it is.
2 in the top of the third. Only 7 pitches needed. Happy birthday, Bart! Right on, Rads. Thank you. Bottom of the 3rd inning here. 2-0 Kansas City. And Rougned Odor batting 8th today will lead things off. Odor, then Hanser Alberto, and then back to the top for Delano DeShields. Roogie had all that time to get ready, but the gloves, chain, now we're set. Duffy, meanwhile, very efficient last inning. This bunt popped up, and Salvador Perez right there, 1 away.
Well, Danny Duffy, despite the struggles that he has had this year, look what he did last year against the Texas Rangers. Hard to believe that he lost one of those games. 2 starts, a 0.57 ERA. That's 1 run in 15 2/3 innings, but that 1 run led to a loss for him, and so he is comfortable against the Rangers. Now, overall in his career, look what he has done against the Texas Rangers. He's 1-2 with a 3.25, but last year in particular, he pitched extremely well against the Rangers. You kind of wonder when you're having that rough year if maybe you look forward. Even though come to this ballpark, not an easy one to pitch in, but a place that you're comfortable and pitch well, or a club that you've pitched well against.
It's 1-0, and Alberto briefly threatening to bunt. Hanser 0 for 3, just the second game for him. And he takes up and away, 3-0. Alberto missed last season. The shoulder problems cost him fundamentally the entire 2017 season. He takes a strike here, although he would disagree. It's 3-1. At one time regarded as the best defensive prospect in baseball when he was in the minor leagues. And 3-1 pitch that catches a corner, the exact opposite corner the previous pitch. Quinn Walcott giving the extremes here, and that puts Hanser in a tough spot now at 3-2. This will be the 7th pitch of the at-bat for Alberto.
Well, after falling behind 3-0, Danny Duffy has put 3 pitches in a row on various corners. And he goes to the corner again. Ooh.
Wow. And Alberto strikes out looking, 2 away. All right, let's distract ourselves. Where's Emily Jones?
Yeah, progressive fan of the game time. It is Jonathan and Jamie Adams in from North Carolina celebrating your 16th wedding anniversary. Tell me why Texas?
We've been Rangers fans for a long time. We figured this would be a fun place to get away and come see some games.
And also they have 4 kids and they get to sleep in. So that's a big part, right?
Yes.
Congratulations. Thank you for your courage raising 4 human beings. 2 is all I can handle. Congratulations on fan of the game, guys.
Yeah, indeed. They deserve at least 1 game at the ballpark.
Well, it sounds like they got pretty far away from their kids. It's a pretty good play.
Yeah.
16-year anniversary. Congratulations.
Here's DeShields now. Bounces this one left side, but a Sunday hop for Escobar. And he throws out Delano to win the inning. A 10-pitch 3rd inning for Duffy. Boy, he has settled right in. We head to the 4th. 2:05 start. You can get savings of over 50% on tickets, food, kids zone access, souvenir programs. And you know the highlight of it all, CJ, Coke soft drinks.
Ooh.
Yeah.
All Coke soft drinks.
50%.
Nice.
TexasRangers.com/specials. Get your Coca-Cola family pack today. Austin Bibbins-Dirks, and he goes 1-1 to Jorge Soler. So we've only come up with 3 total hyphenated players in Major League history, right?
Come on, really?
I think that's it. Bibbins-Dirks, Kiner Falefa, and Roland Smith. Inside, it's 2-1. Soler struck out in the first. He's 0 for 1.
Wow, and this says here that Ryan Roland Smith was the first player in Major League Baseball with a hyphenated name. Wow. So without a doubt,
Yeah.
we're seeing it for the first time among teammates. And that barehanded play that you guys talked about, first time ever, that is also accurate.
Yeah. No, I mean, look, Elias Sports Bureau does not mess around with that kind of stuff. And Steve wouldn't pass on that kind of information nor research it were it not a relevant fact. This is an historic game. The 2-2 off the plate. It's a full count. This game will, at its conclusion, be put in a time capsule for people to look back on many, many decades later as a groundbreaking event. Strike 3 called, and boy, the edges of the zone, the extreme bottom and top, everything seems to be in play today for Quinn Walcott. A strikeout of Soler, 1 away.
That's some frustration here on the part of Soler. That's a pretty good pitch and an excellent job by Robinson Chirinos. Watch him come from the bottom and bring this pitch up. That's the way that you present it to an umpire. Right there, perfectly done. Soft hands, quiet movement from Robinson Chirinos. Soler not loving that. Second strikeout of the night for him.
So now Hunter Dozier flied out in the second inning. He's 0 for 1. Dozier went to Denton High School, lives in Argyle. 2-0 the count. So very much a local product. A lot of family and friends here tonight. And I see he's a 1 batting glove guy. You have the all or nothings, and then every now and then it's kind of the golf look.
Yeah, Michael Jackson.
Yes.
You don't. I mean, you definitely, that is more rare.
Yeah.
I say that right. More rare.
Rarer.
The most rarest. Than
there you go.
Compared to barehanded for sure,
Yeah.
right? It's amazing, really, how many guys we see that don't use any gloves at all. It's a unique look.
3-1 to Dozier. Yeah, there might be more hyphenated last names in the big leagues than there are hitters who use just 1 glove. Certainly in this game, I think that holds true.
I mean, obviously, for guys that use no gloves, they just love the feel of the bat in their hand. And so I got to wonder for Dozier if it's that top hand, worries a little bit about the bottom hand slipping.
Well, fly ball out to left center field, and Delino tracks that one down nicely, 2 away.
It's always so much fun to watch Delino DeShields glide, and he does right here. He has to go a long way, but makes it look easy. I mean, this was hit right in between him and Joey Gallo, and as he has done so well this year, taking control of the situation. Because that one definitely, off the bat, you're thinking chance there could be a communication issue a little bit, but Delino took control, does a nice job.
6 in a row retired by Bibbins-Dirks. Escobar takes a strike. Re-signed with the Royals in the offseason. Was one of really a long list of Royals players that eligible for free agency. And one that they got back. And he swings and misses. 0-2 the count.
Yeah, we covered that in the open. Eric Hosmer, he's gone off to San Diego. Lorenzo Cain is in Milwaukee now. Jason Vargas with the Mets. The Rangers were able to get Mike Minor. 4 pretty big names, but they did get Mike Moustakas and Alcides Escobar back.
Take one low. Now Moustakas did not sign until like nearly mid-March. That was a stunner. I mean, a guy who set the franchise record for home runs. It was not a given at all that he was going to be re-signed by Kansas City. In fact, it was widely assumed he would go elsewhere and that there would be big bidders out there for him.
Turned down that qualifying offer of more than $17 million. Signed a one-year deal for $6.5. That was a big surprise. I think what happened with him, there weren't too many potential players, but one of the things that really hurt him this offseason was when Zach Cozart signed with the Angels, because the Angels looked like they had an opening at third base. There's certainly a team that would and could spend some money. Cozart was a shortstop with the Cincinnati Reds. They gave him a 3-year deal pretty early in the offseason, and that closed up one really important spot for Mike Moustakas and a potential fit.
1-2. Escobar pops it up right side, and that one will end up a souvenir.
We mentioned the change in roster. There are the 4 big ones that left the kingdom. No longer Kansas City Royals, and all moved on. Certainly the first two right there. Lorenzo Cain, Eric Hosmer, very important for a long time there in Kansas City. Mike Minor had a fantastic season out of the bullpen. Vargas very good in that rotation.
It's like the opposite of a royal wedding right there. A royal breakup of sorts. Pitch off the plate, 2-2.
Well, remember too, going through last year, right? Those guys were all together, and the conversation was, what's going to happen at the trade deadline? Will they hold on to them? Will they try to make one last run, or will they start emptying it out a little bit and maybe trading those guys? Well, they held on to everybody, didn't trade anybody. Now this year, John Heyman of FanRag Sports just wrote today, they are pretty much open for business. It'll be a different feel this season.
Ground ball, shortstop, and Profar throws out his opposite number, and that's 7 in a row. Turned back by Austin Bibbins-Dirks. We go to the bottom of the 4th, 2-0. West and Team Mobile. Go to TexasRangers.com for tickets. Also, try to get things right sometimes. I said that Profar fielded that ground ball at shortstop at the end of the inning at Sandra Alberto. I'm having a tough time adjusting to no Profar over there. Anyway,
a lot of different shortstops this year for the Rangers, certainly more than expected, and Alberto getting that start this evening.
So here's Chu. Chu walked in the first inning. It'll be Chu, Kiner Falefa, and Mazzara here in the 4th. And we talk about Bibbins-Dirks retiring 7 straight. Duffy has turned back 8 in a row now. After a single and a walk got things started. And he's ahead of Chu 1-2.
A big swing there from Chu. Fastball down the middle. Mentioned that's the one area where Duffy has been very good this season. A 200 batting average against lefties.
Fly ball out to center field, and that one is caught. Merrifield on a headlong dive, and it wasn't real clear whether or not he got that one cleanly. Marvin Hudson, the second base umpire, went out, and then finally rung up Chu.
It looked like Whit Merrifield slipped a little bit. Let's watch him here as he goes back. Takes that first step back. He's got some really good speed. We know that about him. This is just his second start in center field in his career. He was scheduled to be the second baseman tonight, but Alex Gordon was scratched, and so there was some shuffling in that lineup for the Kansas City Royals, and he goes out to center and he makes a really nice play.
I don't know that it's a perfect analogy to make, but here's a guy who spent 7 years in the minor leagues, and it took a while until his age 27 season to get that opportunity in the big leagues, and he has become an absolute delight for the Royals. And I wonder in some ways if the guy at the plate, Isaiah Kiner Falefa, perhaps underrated a little bit. Now that he has made the big leagues and has had some time, he has certainly drawn the attention of Rangers fans and folks in baseball. As a guy who, I don't know, maybe folks misjudged him just a little bit along the way, because he has been very versatile and very good wherever they have used him.
He certainly has. Now Isaiah Kiner Falefa a lot younger when he got his first opportunity. He's 23. Whit Merrifield did not get to the big leagues until his age 27 season, and what was so interesting about his path is that he was on the roster for 3 years with the Kansas City Royals, and he never made it to the big leagues. They took him off the roster. Any team could have taken him prior to the 2016 season for pretty much nothing. He went unclaimed, cleared waivers, signs back with the Kansas City Royals, got a chance in 2016, and has been fantastic since. Led the league, 34 stolen bases last year, and has been a consistent hitter, 285 over the course of his career with a 329 on base.
Well, I'll be interested after your long conversation with Ned Yost on Saturday.
Yeah.
And see what kind of response you get and what he has to say about that path that Merrifield has taken. But he has been a real bright spot for them as they try to reshape things a little bit. Kiner Falefa, meanwhile, a bright spot this year, down at first after the walk.
Now, I'll give you a call. You think you'll be on what, the 8th or 9th hole by that time we finish it? You got Saturday off.
I might be done at that point in the clubhouse and just preparing to watch the game on TV.
The FS1 this Saturday.
Who are they bringing in to work that one with you?
You know, they go pro. They try to go big time,
right.
Make sure that we please the entire nation. So Justin Kutcher will be doing play-by-play for that game. I'll be doing color work.
2-0 to Mazara. He takes low. So Nomar grounded out in the first inning.
So you see that conversation right there? As Danny Duffy was throwing that baseball and delivered it, Isaiah Kiner-Falefa went back to first. It was standing on the bag when the ball came out of his hand. That's what they were talking about, what he may have seen there. Take a look at this. Watch when he goes to throw this pitch. Talk about a secondary lead. This is the opposite of a secondary lead. And he even still kind of took the one hop afterwards.
Oh, man.
But Danny Duffy's very good. You mentioned it before. Only one stolen base against him this year. And it's a difficult guy to steal off of. Between him and the great job that he does, and then the combination of what Salvador Perez can do. Salvador Perez has been excellent this year as far as keeping potential base stealers off. Boy, that looked like a ball. It's a good job on the wrist.
Yeah, though, I tell you what, the corners have stretched a little bit tonight, and Walcott, especially once a pitcher falls behind, it seems like he gives him extra leeway. Both sides, in fairness, I don't think he's
consistent.
Yeah, he just seems to give a little extra. Kiner's running.
Wow.
3-2 is a swing and a miss, and Falefa is out by a long shot. Strike him out, throw him out. Wow.
It's been amazing when you think about what Perez has done. 5 of 12 base stealers have been successful against him this year. We'll go to the 5th when we get back. Next year in those 6 starts, the first 2 innings, the ERA 6, the batting average, you see it there, all the numbers up across the board. But beyond that, from the 3rd inning on, things improved pretty dramatically for him. Now tonight he did allow the 2 runs in the 2nd inning, but those were unearned. That was that hard base hit that went up the middle and got by Delano DeShields and turned into a 3-base era Little League style home run. Those are the only 2 runs that have been scored so far this evening. There it is. Done a nice job filling up the strike zone. No walks to 4 strikeouts through his 4 innings so far. Been a double and 2 singles.
Goins, the man who scored the first run, had the base hit, lines this one out to left field, and he has another base hit. So he's 2 for 2. Lead man on in this 5th inning for Kansas City. That brings up Ramon Torres.
Take a look at that pitch. Looked like a 4-seam fastball with a little bit of run. Actually, quite a bit of run. It stayed up. Goins does a good job. That ball is up. Instead of trying to pull it, just hit it where it's pitched. Didn't hit it all that hard, but he got himself a base hit.
So now Torres. Keep an eye on Ryan Goins.
It's interesting to see how much movement that Austin Bibbins Dirks got on that fastball. It was a 4-seamer, but because of his arm angle, it's low 3/4, and sometimes he'll go even lower than that. He can get some pretty good run, but he was trying to keep that ball, I think, a little bit straighter, a little further in. The more you drop your arm, the lower that arm angle gets. It's near impossible to throw a ball straight.
Of course, one of the unique things about Bibbins Dirks is that he moves that release point around in the course of a game. How hard is that? I mean, were you ever able to do that?
Well, you have to be a really good athlete. You have to be able to repeat your delivery when you're going to drop your arm or bring it back up or whatever you're going to do. You have to be able to show that you can do it consistently. Otherwise, pitching coaches are not going to let you do it. And when you decide I'm going to drop a couple of inches here, you better be able to throw the same pitch that you could throw from your regular arm angle with some kind of consistency. If you can do that, then you can be very effective. David Cohn was kind of known for doing that. He was just here calling those Yankee games on the Yes Network, where it seemed like, you know, he had 4 pitches, but it seemed like 16. You'd say the same thing on Pedro Martinez, because it seemed like it was 4 different angles from which he would throw those pitches, and they would have different action on them. And it's just a matter of, can you repeat it with consistency? Because if you can't, then it's a really big mistake. But if you can, it could be a pretty dangerous weapon.
2-strike pitch. That one might have gotten away from Bibbins Dirks a little.
Take a look here. Austin right there. It's probably a little bit more of a 3/4. See the ball kind of slipped out of his hand a little bit. Sweaty night asking for a new baseball. But, like, you know, there's guys that'll just do it once in a while, right? Rich Hill's a good example of a starter who throws from his traditional arm angle, and every once in a while he'll drop his arm. We've seen Dallas Keuchel start to do that a little bit with the Houston Astros, but the way Austin does it, it's much more frequent as far as changing the arm angle.
There's a base hit into right field for Torres. And just as they did in the second inning, Goins and Torres, they go back-to-back with base hits. Lineup turns over after that one.
Exactly what you were thinking here. Bottom of the order, 8 and 9 hole hitters are 4 for 4. Torres was the guy who got himself in the lineup because Alex Gordon was a late scratch.
Yeah, utility guy they're able to use all over the infield, and today fills in at third. So a couple of base runners for John Jay, 0 for 2, and he's going to bunt right back to the mound, though, and Bibbins Dirks will throw him out. It's a sacrifice and a good one because it gets Goins to third and Torres out to second base.
Center fielder Win Merrifield.
Take a look at this. I was kind of curious whether or not ABD would have a play at third. I think he may have, but he wasn't even going to take a chance. He wanted to take the out. It's something that you have to decide right away. Now you see Robinson Chirinos pointing at first base. He didn't like the odds in that spot. You get some pitchers that get very aggressive, especially if it's a close game. But ABD decided, you know, we're going to play it safe. Robinson Chirinos thought it was a good idea as well.
So now Merrifield, who is 0 for 2 with a strikeout.
So we'll take a look here, and this is a really cool feature that we have on Fox Sports Southwest as far as how far does a fly ball have to get in order, kind of the safe zone as far as a sacrifice fly, anything from the green line on. We believe there's a pretty good chance that Goins could score. Red line in, definitely not. And then you got kind of that middle zone where it'd be close. Delano's looked pretty shallow there, didn't it? You look at how shallow it was for Delano and Shields, who's been very accurate this year. You know, what they do is they take arm speed, exchange, accuracy of your throw, put all that information together, plus the speed of the runner to try to get an idea. Of course, some pretty good arms out there. Joey Gallo, Nomar Mazara, strong arms. I think Delano's been pretty accurate this year. He's done a nice job. Is he 6 or 7 assists?
Well, I was going to say, a lot of fans were probably saying to themselves, oh, wait a minute. This one in there for a high strike. And the count is 2-1, because when you look at outfield assists, Delano with 5 of them. That is 4th most in the American League. Now, part of the reason you get a lot of assists sometimes is because teams are more willing to run against you and be aggressive against you. And so that gives you some opportunities, maybe even advantageous opportunities. But he's done a good job, to your point. high, and it's 3-1.
So obviously we know Merrifield has been a good hitter. You see the overall numbers this year and what he has done. He's been pretty good in these spots. 250. Now you have Mike Moustakas on deck. So you sit there and you play that game. You know, would you want to go open base? Would you want to be careful? As good as Merrifield has been, I think you want to go right at him right here. You don't want to give Moustakas the bases loaded.
He was thinking along the same lines. Fouls it off, and it's a full count. Yeah, there's Moose. What a year he had last year, and he's done real well again this year. No question, you want to face him with as few men on base as possible. Bibbins Dirks called up before the game. His first appearance as a Ranger this year. 3-2 inside, and Merrifield is aboard. The bases are loaded. That was the first walk issued by Bibbins Dirks tonight. And one of the things he did well down at AAA this year, 8 walks, 32 strikeouts. Not a ton of strikeouts, but a good job of mitigating the walks this year. Part of his .372 earned run average in 8 starts at AAA. Now things get tricky.
He's been very good in these spots. He's a .253 career hitter overall. With the bases loaded, he is a .300 career hitter, and he does have a couple of grand slams.
Takes a full swing at this one, but pops it up. Chirinos will run out of room. Strike one of Moustakas. He doubled in the first, struck out swinging in the third.
He would be the name right now as far as what happens here with the Royals if they start moving some players as we get closer to the deadline at the end of July, that trading deadline. You could DH. You could play a little bit of first as well. And he's pretty inexpensive for what he has done so far this year offensively.
Big spot here for Bibbins Dirks. A little tight. Inning opened with Goins singling. Torres followed with a single. They're at third and second respectively. Merrifield just walked. He's at first.
Moustakas does not run particularly well, and so certainly an opportunity if he can get that ground ball. Bibbins Dirks slightly below average ground ball rate last year. But that's the pitch right there. Fastball down and away with some movement. The changeup will usually get him some pop-ups. Now, this Royal team has hit into 52 double plays. That's the most in the game. So if he can locate that pitch, usually something down with some movement, the 2-seam fastball, 4-seam fastball. Even that slider, that's the pitch that can get you the ground ball.
Moustakas about 10% of those double play ground balls too. He's rolled into 5 of them.
See some frustration there in the body language of Austin Bibbins Dirks. You mentioned the great control that he had this year, just the 8 walks at the minor league level, and he certainly expects to be able to throw the ball where he wants to when he needs to. And been a couple of pitches this inning that seem to have gotten away from him a little bit. Now he's showing some frustration.
I got to be careful here. The 3-1. Foul away, so it's a full count on Moustakas. He got Moustakas swinging in the third, but it was just the 30th time this year that he has struck out. So not a wild swing and miss guy at all. Right now, 2 unearned runs in this game. They came in the second inning. That is it. Strike 3 called. Moustakas down looking for the second out of the inning. Wow.
That is a huge pitch in a big spot, and a nice job by Robinson Chirinos. And Austin Bibbins Dirks had been working Moustakas away. He got one pitch in earlier off the plate, and that one was perfectly located. Good look at the fastball grip, and that one came back just enough to catch the inside corner.
So Salvador Perez.
Careful here, first pitch, right?
Yeah. And he swings and lines it over short. That one into left field, base hit. One run is in. Torres scores as well. Merrifield stops at third base. So it's a 2-run single by Perez. 4-0 Kansas City.
As much as we talked about Salvador Perez and how aggressive he is early, ideally you go out of the zone. It was a breaking ball, caught a little bit too much plate. It's a good pitch. You say, what's wrong with that pitch? It's down and away on the corner, and it is a good one. But to Salvador Perez in an RBI situation, you know that he is going hacking, and he is one of those good bad ball hitters, right? A guy that can hit some pitches out of the zone or even well-located pitches that you say that's a pitcher's pitch, but he's good at those, especially down in the zone and especially in an RBI situation.
So now it's Jorge Soler. Soler struck out swinging in the first and looking in the 4th inning. One and one.
That's a good pitch right there, and that's probably the one that ABD wanted to throw with Salvador Perez. It's a good breaking ball. It's tight. See how it finishes just below the zone, taking advantage of an aggressive hitter.
Austin's 1-1. Little low. So Soler. Also, I mean, given his history, a couple of strikeouts today, I want to say surprising. Wouldn't qualify as anything near surprising, but only 46 strikeouts for Soler coming into play today.
Jorge Soler has made a lot of adjustments. I had a chance to do one of their games a couple of weeks ago, and Ned Yost was talking about how much he has dug into data and how much preparation he does and how proud he is of that preparation. A lot of work that he did this entire offseason to put himself in a position where he understands pitchers more, understands trends more. Now, he probably doesn't have much data on ABD, and he looks a little lost so far tonight.
Got a stretch where he walked in 9 straight games, but he strikes out for the 3rd time tonight. So Bibbins Dirks gets Soler to end the inning, but the Royals add 2 more. Now to the bottom of the 5th, the Rangers need to get that offense going. It'll be Rua, Gallo, and Chirinos when we come back. Bottom of the 5th inning. Sunday, as we wrap up this series, it'll be a 2:05 game. The first 15,000 fans get a Rangers cap, courtesy of Carter Blood Care. Get your tickets at TexasRangers.com or by calling 972-RANGERS. Only time the Royals come through town this year. They're here for 4 games. It's been a struggle for them here in 2018, but they lead tonight. And the pitch to Ryan Rua is upstairs for ball. Rua, Gallo, and Chirinos. Rangers have just 1 hit. It was the Shields to start the game. It's after a night last night where they scored 12 runs to beat the Yankees.
It's a pretty exciting series those 3 days against the New York Yankees. Lots of home runs. The Rangers had some big moments, tight games, a lot of emotion, and sometimes when you go through that, especially against a really big opponent, one like the Yankees, they travel well. There's a lot of Yankee fans that were here, and then you play the Kansas City Royals, who they're struggling, having a rough season. There can be a little bit of a letdown, and you're going up against the pitcher in Danny Duffy, who's having a really rough year. And so mentally, you have to keep yourself in check a little bit. Make sure you don't get mentally lazy, start kind of overlooking your opponent a little bit. I'm not saying the Rangers have done that, but that's not something that is uncommon in these kind of situations.
1-2. Rua shoots this one out to right field. Soler coming on, and there is one away. Well, it's been a friendly series for the Rangers over the years. We talked about this when we opened the broadcast today. They have taken 12 of the last 13 meetings between the 2 clubs. But as you can see, a lot closer than the record would indicate. Rangers pitched their way to a lot of those wins, and a lot of them by just 1 run. So some very close games, hard-fought games. And hoping tonight that they can get at least 5 runs to win this one.
It's amazing that ERA that they had in those wins. And overall, the 13 games against Kansas City Royals. It's only been 2 earned runs tonight so far through 5. 4 total.
Gallo fouls this one back our direction. Hey.
We weren't kidding. I didn't see it. I couldn't see it. Did that land right above our head?
Right off our little corrugated roof.
It's, you know, it's kind of that tough sky right now. It's not completely dark for our purposes. I did not see that baseball at all. Glad it didn't land over here.
This one popped up left side and out of play. It's 1 and 2.
I could do a Bartolo Colon. Just jump up and stop it with my stomach. Remember that line drive?
Yeah,
Was that in Seattle? Yeah.
After the game, he said, "I've got a lot of belly."
Yeah.
No big deal. One, 2. And a high pop up near second base. Escobar wants it. So 2 out here in the 5th inning. All right, time for a Chevy game break. Let's check in again with John Radigan. Golly.
It's amazing.
That kind of that makes me uncomfortable right there. Chirinos. Big swing. High pop up again. Back of second this time. A little argument. But they'll go ahead and let Soler handle it. So the inning is done. Pardon me. Inning over. 4-0. Here's a host of the Royals. That's a big time broadcast. Coverage begins at 3 o'clock Central on FS1. Then at 6 o'clock Central on Fox. So with the biggest stars in baseball. Jose Altuve and the Astros, Francisco Lindor and the Indians. So
some spiders maybe.
Maybe.
Where did the spider bite happen? I'm curious. Did it happen like in the clubhouse, at home? These are
always
answers.
in bed. Spider bites.
Really?
Always in bed. At least that's what I think. 6th inning. Dozier. And he takes high. 0 for 2. Bibbins Dirks. Over 90 pitches. This is away. 2-0.
Those high for him came a couple of starts ago in AAA through 104 pitches back on May 12th. His longest outing of the year had been 6 innings as well. So he's trying to get through maybe one more here. Jeff Bannister would certainly take a 6-inning outing from ABD.
This ball struck well. High in the air out there to right field, but Mazzara with just enough room. 1 away. And he's out there by the bullpen, so we'll just tune into the Southwest Live look. Matt Bush getting ready. So he may be asked to come in as early as this 6th inning, unless ABD can get a couple of quick outs here.
Well, you would normally say, well, is it a good spot in the lineup as he gets ready to face Escobar, 7-hole hitter, but hitters 8 and 9, 4 for 4 tonight, 4 singles, and they have scored all 4 runs. But I got to believe that Austin can get through Escobar. He'll have a chance to. Sure, Banny will give him a shot to finish off this inning.
Well, great to have him back today. We knew it was a likelihood that at some point we would see Bibbins Dirks after all he did last year. He was tested in a number of different ways that I think gave the Rangers a lot of confidence that they had a guy down at AAA who was at the ready when needed. 1-1 the count, and he was throwing the ball well down there in a very tough league for pitchers. 2-3 record, a 3.72 ERA. One to Escobar. Ground ball, shortstop. Alberto is there. And there are 2 away. In fact, Austin, in his last 6 starts in the Pacific Coast League, had an ERA of 2.45. Almost 30 innings and given up just 1 home run, and that's in that league not very easy to do.
It's pretty much like pitching in Colorado almost every day.
Yeah.
Pacific Coast League, you always have to take some of those numbers, both offensively and from pitchers, with a little bit of a grain of salt, understanding that that league could be a pretty tough place to pitch.
Ground ball first base, and from a knee, Rua has it. He lost his footing. It flips it to Bibbins-Dirks, and the inning is done. And Austin probably done after 6 good innings tonight.
Yeah, good defensive inning for the Texas Rangers, and a nice adjustment here by Ryan Rua as he fell just down to 1 knee. Makes a nice clean catch and a perfect toss to ABD.
Seems kind of crazy to say it, but time feels like it's running a little short here. Rangers offensively with just the 1 hit. Danny Duffy has been very sharp. Look at the 8 and 9 hitters, Odor and Alberto, to start this 6th inning. And he floats one right in there for a strike.
We mentioned what happened in 2017 for Danny Duffy against the Texas Rangers. Threw the ball extremely well, 15 2/3, and just a 1 earned run allowed. And it seems like he's pretty comfortable here in Arlington tonight. He has cruised along here so far. If that ends up being it, though, for Austin Bibbins-Dirks, he had a really nice night. Threw the ball extremely well. 6 strikeouts to just 1 walk.
And only 2 of the runs against him tonight were earned. 1 and 2 the count on Odor. So Odor yesterday 0 for 4 with a couple of strikeouts. He homered in Monday's game. It was his first of the year, but he's 1 for 10 since, and shanks this one out of play. Spent a long stretch on the disabled list with that hamstring strain. Was activated on the 11th of May, so it's been almost 2 weeks now that he has been back.
And even though there have been some struggles in there, we have seen some quality at bats from Odor. The strikeouts to walk since he's come back off the DL have not been all that favorable, 18-2. But there have been some times where he's shown some good discipline against some tough pitching. He did it in the Yankee series, staying off some of those pitches below the zone. It's been baby steps here for Odor, but some good things have happened.
Hard ground ball out to short right field. The throw in time to get Odor. That was a tough play, in particular for Dozier, who had to step across and put himself in harm's way as Odor was sprinting down the line.
Yeah, it certainly looked like there might have been a collision here. Let's first of all see whether or not Odor got there before the throw. He did not, and so he was out. But you see how Dozier had to come across. This is one of those awkward angled throws because of the shift. And there looked like there was going to be a pretty ugly collision there, but fortunately there was not.
Alberto, high fly ball out to left center field. Merrifield, center fielder, gets there. Looks for a quick out.
Let's get to our forward game summary. We've been talking about Danny Duffy and the job that he has done tonight. Well, this game started off favorably for the Rangers with that base hit to right field by Delino DeShields, but then all of a sudden Danny Duffy really turned it on. He has not allowed a hit since. Just a couple of base runners via the walk. 2 of those walks, one on the first and one on the fourth, and got some help with the caught stealing and the good throw from Salvador Perez. The defense has been good, so it's been 4 strikeouts and 2 walks and just 1 hit so far tonight for Danny Duffy through 5 2/3. There's that line. Part of our forward game summary. Danny Duffy having a good night. Not necessarily, I think, what Ranger fans were expecting.
The guy who had the hit just tried to bunt it, but it goes foul. 0-2 on DeShields. Had the single in the first inning. And then was caught stealing on a bizarre play. Ball that was in the dirt and bounced off Salvador Perez's glove up into Chu's face, back to Perez, and then made the throw to second to throw out DeShields. That was an ominous start to the game. A swing and a miss, and Duffy puts up another 1-2-3. Just 10 pitches needed in the 6th inning. So the 7th inning is next. Royals lead it 4-0.
Hidden fee. That's transparency. By GMC. Visit your local GMC dealer today. And by LG OLED TV with AI Thin Cube.
Well, we're back to action here in the 7th inning, and Austin Bibbins-Dirks comes out for more. Goes right after Torres with strike one. Torres a couple of hits and a couple of at-bats.
Pitch number 100. That is a career high for Austin Bibbins-Dirks at the big league level. We mentioned he threw 104 at the minor league level this year. Some confidence from Jeff Bannister to send him back out there in the 7th. Matt Bush continues to throw down in the Ranger bullpen.
Or 2 to Torres. And he'll foul it away. So 4-0 Kansas City. 4 runs on 6 hits. They have only left 4 on base. Rangers no runs, 1 hit. They made one really big error and left 1 man on.
I would say this is probably one of those batter by batter situations where you let Bibbins-Dirks stay out there as long as he continues to get batters out. Now the only thing I would say, maybe there's Matt Bush with John Jay on deck, the lefty Merrifield. You have to be efficient to get through all 3 of those guys, and Jay and Merrifield are guys that'll give you a couple of tough at bats. But first things first, you got to get Torres out.
Two balls and 2 strikes. And a bouncer third base. Short hop and a great play again by Kiner Falefa. And he throws out Torres. 1 away. Austin Bibbins-Dirks back. Brandon Mann was the casualty today. For more on that, let's check in with Emily.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate because those two had talked about being able to share a big league field together at some point. It was kind of something they thought would be cool to experience as elder statesmen in the rookie department, both last season and this season. Jeff Bannister said it was a hard decision as far as having to send a pitcher down who hadn't given up a run yet, but it just made sense that that would be the move. Brandon Mann said he feels confident he can make it back here. He loved the experience of being at the big league level and feels like he is capable of being back at this level on a consistent basis. So a little bit of irony in the roster move today, but both guys obviously understand the business of baseball since they've been in it for quite some time now.
A couple of terrific journeys, no doubt about it, and great stories both of them have been.
Line drive out to right field for Jay. He'll take an aggressive turn but hold. And that was the first thing that Austin Bibbins-Dirks said to us today. Bumped into him well before the ball game this afternoon, and like the first thing on his mind was, yeah, it just stinks that it had to be Brandon Mann. The two of them really wanted to be teammates together at this level. They've done it at the minor league level.
And it, as Emily said, it really did make sense. The Rangers were carrying 9 pitchers in their bullpen. They're down to 8 when you think about the lefties and Diekman and Alex Claudio. And Brandon Mann, without a doubt, was the 3rd lefty down there. It was great that he got off to a nice start and threw up 5 zeros to start his career. But the reality is those guys are certainly in front of him as go-to arms. That's been a good thing. We're in a spot right now with the Rangers where we were not a year ago, where they have some respectable good arms that have had to go to the minor leagues because things have gotten a little bit crowded. Matt Bush went down for a little while. Brandon Mann just went down. It's a good problem to have.
Royals, much of the damage today has come at the bottom of the order with Goins and Torres accounting for 4 of their 7 hits. Merrifield walked his last time up. That was to load the bases. Runner goes, 1-0 pitch, comebacker, and Bivens Dirks knocks it down with his back. His throw to first, not in time. Quite a play to come up with a baseball. And even have a play over there at first, but Merrifield is aboard.
Yeah, Whit Merrifield's a good runner, and it's unfortunate because with the runner going, he had no chance at a double play, and then kind of a bad luck bounce from Austin Bivens Dirks on this ball. I gotta believe that's probably going to end his night.
Here comes Banny. So Bivens Dirks given an opportunity to make it through 7, but couldn't quite get there today, and he'll turn it over to Matt Bush here in the 7th. Amazing that that season series will be done before we get to August. Matt Bush comes on here in the 7th.
Second appearance for Matt Bush since he has been recalled. Pitched a couple of days ago. There is the arsenal, that cutter, some usage of that this year with the fastball averaging 97. That is the big one for Matt Bush.
He hits Moustakas with the first pitch and loads him up. So Bivens Dirks, great one today. It's fun to have him back again. He was always a delight last year, and today 6 1/3, 4 runs on 8 hits, only 2 earned. 109 pitches.
He's responsible for Jay and Merrifield that are both in scoring position right now. That hit by pitch, and so we find Salvador Perez in a similar situation. He had that base hit a couple of innings ago in the 5th where he went hacking first pitch. We talked about that. Certainly Matt Bush in that same situation. Salvador Perez swinging again in that same situation. Well, both of these teams have really struggled with runners in scoring position. The Kansas City Royals came into this one hitting .217. The Rangers .206.
Oh, 2 the count on Perez. He delivered that big hit in the 5th inning. Royals 1 for 4 today with runners in scoring position. 1 for 2 with the bases loaded. Just missed. 1 and 2 the count.
Robinson Trinos really wanted that one. You see him shaking his head a little because watch where he set up away off the plate, had to come back a little bit. It was probably a ball, but I think for Robinson thinking what we've seen tonight, a lot of the corners and just off have been called. He really wanted that one.
1 and 2 the count. Well, John Jay at third base got on via the hit. With Merrifield at second. He had to back up the box and off of Bivens Dirks, knocking him out of the game, and then Mike Moustakas just hit by a pitch a moment ago to load him up. At the plate 2 and 2.
Well, based on the way this at bat has gone so far, we talked about this a lot with Matt Bush. We saw Salvador Perez swing through a fastball that was up. He tried to get him away with some cutter slider type pitches down and away. There's an opportunity here to elevate up at the top of the strike zone.
Bouncer up the middle, and that one is through. Jay is in. Merrifield will score, and for the 2nd time tonight with the bases loaded, Salvador Perez drives in a pair. 6-0 Kansas City.
Now they went back to the slider, and this one caught a little bit more plate than the ones that we had seen earlier. Of course, in that 2-2 count, bases loaded, you don't want to go full count. Put yourself in a situation where you have to split the plate. Salvador Perez hit himself a ground ball, but he right back up the middle. 94 miles an hour on that cutter.
So now Soler, who has struck out 3 times tonight, and he can't catch up to that one. 97 miles per hour in the upper reaches of the zone. Still a double play depth on the infield. Another good fastball, and count 0-2. Both of those runs charged to Austin Bibbins Dirks. Tapper right side. Rua goes to second for one. Alberto back to first, and it pulls Bush off the base. Can't get the double play. They do get one out anyway, 2 away.
Now this would have been a very difficult double play to turn. Really good pitch by Matt Bush. Great throw here by Rua and Alberto trying to get the double play. And I'll tell you this, a lot of pitchers probably miss that ball. Matt Bush, the good athlete that he is able to at least catch it, but a near impossible double play to turn.
So now the local kid, Hunter Dozier, with runners on the corners, and Dozier, he got into one a little bit his last time up in the 6th inning. Hit it out there to pretty deep right field for a long out, his 3rd out in the air tonight. Holds off. That one is on the corner. It's 1-1.
Now it seems like the Kansas City Royals offense coming around a little bit after they had struggled. 16 runs scored for them in their last 3 games. Now 17 runs in their previous 6 games. So they've been swinging some pretty good bats here as of late. And of course, that does include tonight. We'll talk about those last 3 games.
Stakis at 3rd, Soler at 1st with 2 away. One from Bush, a big swing and a miss. Dozier at Denton High School when he was growing up here locally, a football player, and obviously a star on the baseball team. His senior year had to give up football due to a collarbone injury. And I would think as a guy with a big baseball future, the collarbone injury would be scarier even for that sport. But he strikes out swinging. 0 for 4 tonight. He leaves a couple on base. 2 more in though for the Royals. They'll stand and stretch here tonight. It's 6-0 Kansas City.
Usual play, but he makes a great throw, and then the strike him out, throw him out. Perez has been so good over the course of his career, throwing runners out defensively, calling good games, and a couple of base hits in big situations. Those 2 singles produced 4 RBIs. 6 runs scored tonight for the Kansas City Royals, and 4 of them driven in by Salvador Perez.
Well, he's caught a nice game and helped Duffy really navigate this Rangers lineup pretty effectively so far today. Chu fouls this one away, and the count is 0-2. It'll be Chu, Kiner Falefa, and Mazzaro. There you go, 4 RBIs for Perez, season high. Chu hits this ball on one hop to second, but it sneaks through and into right field. Tough play out there for Ryan Goins. Looked like he just kind of, I don't know if he was just guessing on the hop or caught between charging it or laying back.
Yeah, first look, it looked like he might have got caught in between. There's a look at the fastball grip from Danny Duffy. Missed the spot pretty badly. Good job by Chu to get this on the inside, but you see it right there. Those line drives, you're not used to fielding line drives that have been in the air that long, and so the bump and the bounce off the grass certainly a lot different than what you usually see off the dirt. I think that's what got Ryan Goins.
Strike to Kiner Falefa.
See if that can lead to something here for the Rangers, trying to get it going. It's the second hit for them tonight.
How about this? So Duffy, we've been talking about how well he has pitched against left-handed hitters. You see the Rangers box score. Not a whole lot to talk about. This ball lifted down the left field line, but heads up into the seats. But Duffy's last 4 starts, so you add this one in 5 starts now. That was only the 3rd hit he's allowed to a left-handed hitter. He's been awfully tough. For the year, only the 8th hit by a left-handed hitter. Rangers had 4 lefties in the lineup, and this one is outside, 2-2. Kiner Falefa, who is grounded out and walked.
That's 3 straight changeups to Kiner Falefa from Danny Duffy.
It's an odd one right here, right? No strikeouts against a starting pitcher in the last 15 games for Isaiah. He fights that one off, and that's a
part of the reason for me is because he's really good on high velocities. That's something that Isaiah has done a really nice job as far as trying to get him to swing and miss. He has just 1 swing and miss on fastballs at 94 miles an hour and higher of the 42 that he has swung at this year. It's a pretty impressive rate. So he's short to the ball and high velocity.
Bouncer's second base, good feed, and the double play turn. 4-6-3, and the leadoff single erased. Time for a Chevy game break. Let's check in with John Radigan.
Right fielder, Nomar Mazara.
All right, thanks, John. So the Rangers shut out so far tonight by Danny Duffy.
How about this? They have had 4 base runners. 3 of them have been erased. Delino to Shields, who we saw in the first inning, that throw from Chu. Then we had the caught stealing of Kiner Falefa in the 4th, and then that one right there after the Chu base hit. The only guy that has gotten on base and stayed on base was Chu back in the first inning when he walked, and he was able to make it to second base. Every other base runner has been eliminated tonight.
0-2 on Mazara. Seems like Chu's right in the middle of all of this. Doubled up on that last one. In the first inning, when DeShields was thrown out, it was Chu's face that banked it right back to Perez. And then he's the only, like you say, he's the only one who's actually had to walk off the base at the end of an inning. Two-strike offering. And Mazara stays alive. 0-for-2 is grounded out and struck out.
An interesting note I saw today about Nomar Mazara is the opportunities that he has had with runners in scoring position. 1/3 of his plate appearances this year, 33%, have been with runners in scoring position. That is the 4th highest rate in baseball.
Shoots this one out to left field. Jay was in shallow, ranges back though and gets to it to end the inning. Now off the bat that looked like a hit. Inning over. 8th inning is next. Royals lead at 6-0.
Fees. That's transparency. And by Ford. Visit your local Texas Ford dealer today. Ford is the best in Texas.
A warm May evening here in Arlington. Welcome you inside Globe Life Park. Hey, you can watch every out-of-market regular season game live at home, in the office, or on the go with MLB.tv. Your subscription includes MLB At Bat Premium, which allows you to watch live baseball on your favorite supported devices. Blackout and other restrictions do apply. Go to MLB.tv for details.
I love that picture, that shot right there. One girl really wanted to talk to her friend, and she was talking to her. And her friend had her game face on as she scrolled through maybe her Instagram feed or something like that. It seemed like she was not listening to her friend at all.
Probably wasn't. Trying to pick a filter for that most recent selfie. Little bloop out into right field. And Escobar starts the 8th inning with a base hit.
Not sure you could have placed a short fly ball in any better spot. These are a little bit concerning when you have your right fielder, your second baseman, especially in a situation where both of them potentially could dive or slide for it. And that's one where you really don't want your second baseman diving at that point. He's too close to your right fielder. That one can be really, really dangerous. And essentially, you got to communicate as far as who's going to go for it. Make sure that communication is really clear. But that could be a dangerous play.
So the lead man on against Bush. Fires a good heater in there for a strike to Ryan Goins, who's had a nice night. Couple of hits, scored 2 runs. Royals scored 2 in the 2nd, 2 in the 5th, and 2 in the 7th. Just the 9th time this year that they have scored as many as 6 runs in a game. Bush finished off last inning for Austin Bibbins-Dirks. 1-2 the count on Goins.
Good slider there from Matt Bush. He does a good job. He's able to manipulate that breaking ball. A little bit harder, a little bit slower. It's that velocity, really the curveball, when you start to see that in the 80s from Matt Bush.
This one out to left field. Back on it goes Gallo. One away.
Third baseman Ramon Torres.
Well, Ramon Torres, a similar night to that of Goins, in that he has singled a couple of times, scored a couple of runs. Royals started the year in a terrible way. What were they, like 5-20? They went 5-20 to start the year. And so the season was seemingly over before it began. In there for a strike, 1-1 to Torres. Since then, though, they have played much more representative baseball. They've gone 11-13 since that low point of the season. Nearly 500 baseball. 2-1.
I mentioned a division. That's the one thing that could get in the way of kind of making that full decision on whether or not you can really contend. Listen, it's been a rough year. They're struggling. They're 9 back. And the Cleveland Indians are a much better team than they have been playing to so far. They're 24-23, just a game over 500. There's probably always a little bit of that temptation the way there was last year for the Kansas City Royals to keep their guys together. Dayton Moore was quoted today as saying they understand the situation, and while it's still a little bit earlier and they're not making any hard pushes, it seems like it's very likely that they'll be leaning toward being sellers come deadline time. And it was interesting, I thought, one of the articles that I read, that Whit Merrifield's name came up, not by the Royals, but just by the writer. We talked about how good he has been. He's only a 1+ player, so he still has 5 years of control, including this year. Now, he is an older player at age 29, but I can't imagine that the Royals would be that interested in trading him unless the price was right, because he probably would get a pretty good return. That many years of control.
Yeah, I think when you're in their position, and the Rangers might find themselves in a very similar position, you probably do well just to listen to anything and make a decision. I mean, you're certainly under no obligation to trade him, but if somebody wants to give you king's ransom. First pitch to Jay runs a little bit tight. John Jay has scored a run today, 1 for 3. Good sacrifice in there as well. Here comes Doug Brocail on a quick jog out there to talk to Bush. Well, looking ahead to tomorrow night, our Ford probables. Pregame will begin at 6:30 tomorrow. First pitch 7:05. Eric Skoglund will have the start. His first against the Rangers. We did see him during spring training. Mike Minor, so good last year, ended the season as the closer in Kansas City. Now a starter for the Rangers against his former club tomorrow night.
Mike Minor, that's got to be interesting for him, an opportunity to go against his former club. Of course, he was a longtime Brave. I don't know if he pitched against the Braves at all. A member of the Royals. He certainly didn't make any starts against them as he was a reliever.
Ground ball, second base. Odor bobbles. Then he'll have one play. You get John Jay. So 2 gone in the inning.
I guess there's that chance, right? No, because they probably didn't play the National League East last year. This would be the first time in Mike Minor's career in which he's going to pitch against a former team of his. I think. Yeah, he did not pitch against the Braves last year.
So tomorrow will be a fun one for him. Second and third with 2 out, and Whit Merrifield takes a strike. Bouncer third base. That one is just fair. Down the line, it gets 2 runs in. Merrifield to second. Gallo had a little trouble. That one seemed to kind of die underneath the padding there. Didn't lodge, but just died there. And so it's a 2-run double from Merrifield. 8-0 Kansas City.
Take a look at this pitch to Whit Merrifield. Fastball, not bad at all. I mean, look at that location, even in off the plate. Give Merrifield a little bit of credit for getting those hands in and being able to get to that ball and hit it right down the line. No chance for Kiner Falefa to even knock that down. So it's 2-run score easily. And the way that Merrifield runs, that ball kind of rattled around, died like you said in the corner. But there was a chance he might have even gone for 3.
There's Gallo, very strong arm. 2 outs in the inning, and this guy Mike Moustakas coming up. So you certainly, your discretion, the better part of valor. You want to get this guy to the plate. 1 for 3 tonight, hit by a pitch, doubled his first time in, and hits this one sharply on the ground, but to Rule over there at first base, and he'll go to the bag himself to win the inning with 2 more for Kansas City. They lead 8-0, but Rua will lead things off. Then Joey Gallo and Robinson Chirinos in the bottom of the 8th. Hours of coverage. The world's biggest sporting event begins June 14th on Fox and Fox Sports 1. Bottom of the 8th inning, Ryan Rua. And he takes one low for a ball. Rua is 0 for 2. Twice he is flying out to right field.
Danny Duffy's longest outing this season was 6 2/3 innings. He's obviously been through 7 now and trying to go even deeper. That was pitch number 94. He has gotten as high as 111 pitches this year. Nobody throwing yet in that Kansas City bullpen, although they're starting to move around a little bit. And he's also only had 1 quality start. He's only had 1 start where he hasn't allowed any runs.
Slow roller third base, but Torres straightens and throws out Rua 1 away.
Just looks like a completely different guy.
See what he's done so far here tonight. Yeah, the last time he went at least 8 innings, yeah, against the Rangers last July. 20 starts ago in Kansas City. One out, nobody on for Joey Gallo. And he takes strike 1. You see good numbers against the American League West since the start of last year.
You mentioned that game. 8 1/3 he went against the Rangers last year in the middle of July. That was the game that the Rangers won 1-0. Cole Hamels threw 7 2/3. Jose Leclerc, Alex Claudio finished it up.
Out of play. Gallo 0 for 2. Struck out. Popped up. Well, we told you at the beginning, these two teams in the last few years, the series has been dominated by the Rangers. They've won 12 of 13. Hard grounder through into right field. Base hit. Gallo will go for 2. Soler's throw on the way, not in time. And so Gallo with a 1-out double here in the 8th inning.
Number 7 for Joey Gallo this year. Good to see him get a base hit as well with 2 strikes, which has been an issue for him this year. There's that good balanced Joey Gallo swing. I figured he was not going to be able, Danny Duffy not able to hold him down over 3 at-bats. Good head first slide. You're right, Soler has a strong arm, but unfortunately this play was not close.
So Robinson Chirinos takes on the inside corner for a strike. Robbie 0 for 2. Went down looking in the 2nd inning. Popped up in the 5th. This pitch will put Duffy over 100 pitches. Well, it's now 7 times this year that Duffy has been in triple digits in pitches thrown, so not a shock. I mean, he was the guy who was expected to lead this staff. Swing and a miss makes it 1-2 on Chirinos. It's been a struggle in a lot of ways, but I mentioned earlier that though he leads the league, leads baseball with 6 losses, his company in that regard is not terrible. I mean, Dallas Keuchel has 6 losses. Sometimes the good ones stay in long enough to be a big part of the decision. We take a look at what the Royals have going in the bullpen. Tim Hill, left-handing sidewinder, is getting ready out there. Here's a 2-2. Runner in scoring position here for Chirinos. We've got Odor waiting on deck. Rangers down 8-0 in the 8th. Pop up, headed our way again.
A couple of errors there in our section right in front of us.
Jerry Garcia almost made the play on that.
It's good to see Jerry at the game.
Need a miracle. This ball hit well down the left field line and tracked down out there by John Jay. That's a nice play. 2 gone.
Feels like it's just been one of those nights, the handful of times that the Rangers have had some good contact, can't come up with the big hit. Good swing by Robinson Chirinos. Tough break. He squared it up and he hit it hard. Watch John Jay come over and kind of make that basket catch as he's sliding. Two-handed grab.
Pop up on a ground out tonight for Odor. 0 for 2. This one gets away, and Gallo will head to third base. So 390. Ball 1 on Odor. That's a guy who's going to need to figure it out here in a hurry. For 11 since the home run on Monday. 3 for his last 28.
We have seen a few more bunt attempts by Odor lately. That pop-up that you mentioned, his first at-bat was a bunt attempt. And anytime you're struggling and a guy that gets shifted a lot the way that Rugi does, the bunt never a bad idea. He's got a big heavy shift on him right now. Left side of the infield is pretty open.
1-1 pitch.
And there it is. And we haven't talked about it too much yet this evening, but kind of interesting. And I was looking at this with the Kansas City Royals, second most shifts in the game, 653 this year. The Astros shift the most of anybody in the game, but they have done it effectively. Plus 12 for them on the year, according to Inside Edge, and their numbers as far as hits taken away and hits that were aided by the shift. So it has been working out well for the Kansas City Royals, and the Rangers have done a good job in that regard. Even though they don't shift nearly as much, they're 28th in all of baseball. They are a +5. It's a batting average killer right now in baseball, these defensive shifts.
Stays 1 and 2. Yeah, see, you know, you give me those numbers. They say they're a +12, right?
Yeah.
So the shifting that the Royals have done has resulted in, you know, do the profit and loss.
Yeah.
Hey, stopped an extra 12 hits. But there have been plenty there where the hole has been opened as a result of the shift that have resulted in it. How many shifts total did you say it was?
653 according to Inside Edge. Now,
So
I've mentioned this before. You can go to different sites, you're going to get different data. It's never going to be exact, but a good amount.
It's a lot of shifting. A lot of shifting for 12 hits.
Say that again.
For 12 hits that you take away.
Oh, yeah, it does seem like a lot of work, but as long as you're in the positive, you keep doing it, right? And I think you also sit there and you run the data and say, if we were playing straight up, what would our numbers be right now if we were shifting a little bit less, and different things that you look at.
This one lined into left field, opposite the shift. It gets Gallo to the plate, and Odor with the RBI single. It's an 8-1 game.
Well, that was fun to watch. Ruben Odor put together a really good at-bat, 7 pitches against Danny Duffy, and what was an extended 1-2 count, and a really nice job on a pitch that was up. Lined it in the left and down the line for a base hit. Very well done.
Brought in a run and knocks out Danny Duffy. So the Rangers get into that bullpen. And Hill comes trotting in for Kansas City.
Two outs, and Ruben Odor on base at first for the Rangers. And Ruben working today early, even before early batting practice, working on some running drills with Don Wakamatsu and Rangers trainer Jose Vasquez. Ruby bound and determined to work himself out of this funk. It has been a disappointing start to the season, both with his performance and with the injury, but really putting in the work at every level and in all areas to make sure that he gets out of this sooner rather than later, guys.
Yeah, it's good to hear. I mean, listen, when you're struggling a little bit, team's not doing well, it's easy to get discouraged and maybe let a couple of things go, the smaller things in the game. And I think that's certainly some good news, and not surprising from Ruben Odor, who's passionate about being a great player, and part of being a great player means you do all those other little things right.
Alberto with a little flare out towards center field, but tracked down by Whit Merrifield, and the inning is done. So Tim Hill comes on in a 1 pitch, gets his team out of the inning. We go to the 9th.
Of 8-1, but that man right there has done a nice job defensively throughout the season. And back in the 2nd inning, don't worry, we're not going to beam him up anywhere. We're just going to show you where Isaiah Kiner-Falefa is, and watch his barehanded play as that ball took a little bit of a bounce right, made a nice adjustment, and made a pretty good throw. Short hop there, but a great job by Ryan Rua to dig that one out of the dirt. And Isaiah Kiner-Falefa continues to impress defensively, and even impressed Adrian Beltre, right to the Rangers third baseman, currently on the DL, watching Isaiah make that play. It was a good one.
Give it all she's got, Captain.
I mean, that was pretty Star Trek-y.
1-1 Definitely. 1-1 Salvador Perez leading it off here in the 9th inning. 4 RBIs for him, a season high, and shoots this one over to the right side where we've got a whole lot of new defenders. Specifically, Ronald Guzman takes over at first base here in the 9th inning, which displaced Ryan Rua out to right field. This one again to the right side, but foul. So Perez hit by a pitch his first time up today. And his last 2 times up, both of them came up with the bases loaded. And with a single, drove in a pair of runs each time. It's off the plate, 1-2. It's like Bartolo Colon has found a new audience. Azar's been out in right field on ice. Like, well, now it's my turn. Ground ball, third base again. And Kiner Falefa, a nice job to corral it. Throws out Perez, 1 away.
Right fielder Jorge Soler.
Another nifty defensive play by Isaiah. Here is Jorge Soler, 0 for 4 with 3 strikeouts. Bush with an extended outing tonight. Came in to finish up the 7th inning at the final 2 outs in that inning. And then through the 8th allowed 2 runs on a couple of hits. This one popped up. Should be playable. Found ground over there first base side, and Chirinos stayed with it nicely. 2 away.
And that is not an easy play. That fly ball was way up there for Robinson Chirinos, and you can see that little bit of movement at the end. This is why catchers, why it's so important. You see it all the time. On pop-ups, you turn your back to the field once you find it. If you tried to go in this direction right here, and you were facing the field, for sure Robinson Chirinos would have dropped that ball. It's a nice job of tracking that one and seeing it in the glove.
Now Hunter Dozier. And Bush now at a career high 40 pitches on the night. Trying to go 2 2/3 here.
Of course, he went through spring training, at least the first half of it, as a starting pitcher, and Matt had his eyes set on the starting rotation. So what that allowed the Rangers to do this season is look at him in a little bit of a different role. Last year he was a setup man, then he went into the closer role. Goes through spring training, trains this past offseason with the idea of starting in mind. But because he got stretched out, tried to build up a little bit more stamina, this is a new role that he can fill. Multi innings and get himself 50 and probably even a little bit higher than that should the Rangers ever need it as far as the pitch count goes.
That one outing in the postseason a couple of years ago against Toronto with 3 innings. 242 pitches in that one. He strikes out Dozier here. It's a perfect 9th inning. Bush looked better as the night went on. Now last of the 9th and last chance for the Rangers. Top of the order coming. We come back.
Have to do more than that with their run total to get this one in the win column. They trail it by 7 as we welcome you back to Globe Life Park in Arlington. John Radigan here with Mike Bassick and Jeff Fry. We're getting ready for Rangers Live, presented by Fios by Frontier. Mike, what do you have for us?
Well, we'll look at Austin Bibbins-Dirk's return to the Texas Rangers.
And how about you, Jeff?
Let's have some fun with Bartolo Colon, his 45th birthday celebration.
Yeah, as only a clubhouse can offer it. We'll have that and all the post-game reaction right after this one, guys. Rangers Live, presented by Fios by Frontier.
All right, sounds good. 9th inning now. Delano to Shields leading things off, and Tim Hill slings that one right in there for a strike. 1-1 the count. Delano had the base hit earlier. He's grounded out and struck out. Hill came on and in one pitch got Alberto to fly out to center field to end the 8th.
Yeah, we didn't get a chance to. Yeah, look at what he has done so far this year. Game number 19. Good strikeout to walk ratio. Good opponent's batting average at 240 for Hill. Surprisingly, been better against righties than lefties. 286 for lefties, 222 the batting average against right-handed hitters this year. Good ground ball rate, not surprising with that arm angle. 65% for Hill this year. And you've seen it already. The fastball at 92, slider sits around 80, and the changeup also around 80 miles per hour. It's not quite Alex Claudio, a little bit of a different look. Alex, you can tell just by watching Hill already, much more consistent. He's got that much slower changeup. We saw what last night get down to 64 miles per hour.
Shields takes a little high, ball 4. And so a walk to start the bottom of the 9th inning, and it's always a great way to get it going. Brings up Shin-Soo Choo. Choo's been on twice tonight. A walk, an infield hit, flied out his other time up, so continues to be a consistent force that way. It's 11 straight games now in which he has reached safely.
So Tim Hill's got some arms and elbows and knees kind of flying all over the place. You see him there. Alex gets a little bit more crouched than he does, and see how far back his arm comes behind. And then that follow through with the leg and the arm. A little praying mantis for you. It was interesting to see his arm did not come up that time on the off-speed pitch. Now I wonder if that's a habit that's just on the fastball. It wouldn't tip pitches. By the time the arm comes up, the ball's already crossed the plate. See a fastball here what that arm does. Yep, look at that. Arm came way up on the fastball. The previous off-speed pitch, the arm never came all the way up after he threw his pitch. That kind of recoil, which again doesn't really have much effect on the pitch, and a hitter's not going to be able to pick that up.
Or when they do, it'll be too late.
Well, yeah.
Did you ever experiment submarine or sidearm?
Yeah, I tried to make a comeback at 39 years old, doing exactly what Alex does. Played some winter ball in the Dominican, and then Mets were kind enough to give this old timer a shot. It's fun. I really enjoyed it. I wish I had tried it earlier. I ran out of time, but it was super fun. You know, you get old at that point in your career, you know you're just trying something. If not, you sit, take it to the house, and you're done. But I really enjoyed it.
Because at that point, you're not as worried about velocity, right?
No.
It's all about movement,
and
location.
it's a good thing I wasn't worried about velocity. I was sitting in the low 80s with that fastball and occasional 85. It is all about the movement and the deception. And what is most important is that you can get lefties out. If you're a sidearm lefty and you can't get lefties out, then it's probably time to hang it up. The breaking ball, and you know, Alex has it, and so many sidearm lefties have to have it to be able to neutralize left-handed hitters. Now, the velocity, this guy throws pretty hard. Hill, you see it there at 93, and it probably looks a little bit harder because of the arm angle. Alex's fastball, we talked about it last night, perceived velocity of what that really looks like to hitters. He doesn't have to worry and think, well, it's only 85, 86, and maybe I can't throw it for strikes. He knows he can, especially after a couple of those changeups. That fastball will jump on hitters a little bit more, but it's the movement, the deception, and you got to have the breaking ball to keep those lefties.
Low bridge. Choo just got out of the way of that one.
We've seen it already with Hill. You can tell he's a little bit wild, a little bit more herky-jerky in the delivery, and maybe not nearly as comfortable as you see poor Choo. He took one off the face earlier on that ball that bounced in the dirt, came back up and got him, and then this one high and tight. It is already a very uncomfortable at bat against a sidearm lefty.
Pass ball, and it puts the Shields at second base.
Yeah. Don't see it too often for Salvador Perez. That's his first of the year.
And Choo strikes out swinging, so one away.
As much as we've seen Alex Claudio throw, and we know command has been really good for him, right? You can tell right now with Hill, not necessarily the case. And he got a swing, but not where he's trying to throw that ball. He's trying to go away on the outer half and really shoot knees, and that ball was elevated. So there's been a couple of times. What you have to be careful of as a side armor is when you try to put a little bit more on your fastball, because then you start to come out of your sidearm delivery, and then the ball starts to elevate on you, and it starts to flatten out, and that's when you really get hit around. Less is more as a sidearmer.
One strike pitch to Kiner Falefa is off the plate, 1-1. Hill's not a real big guy. Listed at 6'1", 190. What really gets crazy is when you get guys like Kent DeColvey, right? Who are really long and talk about knees and elbows. And DeColvey, old school, right? We're going back to the Pirates of the late 70s, early 80s. He went sidearm. I think Teague was about 6'6" to 6'8", had to be in that range.
6'10" with the painter's cap.
I love that old Pirates cap. The stars on it. 2-2. Kiner Falefa. DeColvey was a guy too who pitched like every day. He was always available. And I'm gonna get the number way wrong, but I think there was one year where he pitched like 13 or 14 consecutive games. Might have been more than that. Yeah. They would use him like every day. You know, today you go 3 straight games and you're down. But he pitched all the time. This one lifted down into that right field corner. Long run out there, and that one got Soler twisted around a little bit. DeShields with his good speed will score easily, and Kiner Falefa goes to third. A triple for Kiner Falefa makes it an 8-2 game. It's his third 3-bagger this year.
Well, it looks like now they're going to call this a ground rule double. That ball must have bounced up and hit something. As Isaiah goes back to second base, Delano DeShields will still score, which is unfortunate. Let's see what happened here on this one. There takes a bounce and
hit the pole.
Went all the way in there, yeah. And then hit the pole. What in the world?
I think it bounced off the foul pole up above the yellow stripe.
They're playing some highlight out there. It's a good job of going with that pitch for Kiner Falefa. Unfortunate that he loses the triple, but that's a good approach against a sidearm lefty.
So, ground rule double, and here is Guzman.
Let's watch this pinball machine down here. So you got one bounce there. It's like, oh, look, did it go straight to the wall too? Yeah, it bounces back. That is odd. That's really strange.
Guzman came in defensively last inning, or at the top of the inning, to play first base, and he entered into Mazara's spot. 1-2 the count. His first at bat of the night. Eight to 2, 1 away, and Kiner Falefa out there at second base. And Guzman strikes out swinging, 2 away. And we'll be up to Ryan Rua. Rua hitless in 3 tries so far tonight. Interesting one tonight in that both teams got some length out of their starters. Austin Bibbins-Dirks went 6 1/3 for the Rangers. Matt Bush took it the rest of the way through 9 innings anyway, with 2 2/3 innings of relief. Danny Duffy went 7 2/3 for the Royals, and they're trying to finish it with just 1 reliever. Tim Hill trying to take care of the last inning in a third. Low. So taking a look at the rest of this series. Tomorrow night, our pregame coverage starts at 6:30. Saturday's game will be on FS1, and that's a 3 o'clock start. And we'll wrap it up here Sunday afternoon, a 2:05 game. But again, all the pregame festivities beginning at 1:30. That will be the end of the homestand. Then it's back to the road, back out west. Full count now on Rua.
Seattle, Anaheim, 4-game set in Seattle, 3 more against the Angels. Be interesting to see what's going to happen with Shohei Ohtani not going to pitch this Sunday. So I wonder if that affects whether or not the Rangers will see him a week from Sunday, because he's kind of been their Sunday pitcher.
Tapper by Rua to stay alive.
And I mean, really, Mike Sosa, the Angels' decision, I mean, I don't know if angered is the right word, but certainly disrupted an entire country. Because Masahiro Tanaka is scheduled to pitch Sunday. So they thought they were getting Tanaka, Ohtani. Mike Sosa poured some cold water on that excitement.
I remember last year when we had Darvish and Tanaka. And what a great battle it was. What a big deal it was. A 3-2 swung on and missed. And Rua strikes out to end it tonight. Rangers get another run in the 9th inning, but it wouldn't be enough. 8-2 our final score tonight. All right, well, John Radigan, Mike Bassick, and Jeff Fry back in the studio, getting ready to bring you all the player reaction and breakdown from this one night. For CJ Nitkowski and Emily Jones, I'm Dave Raymond, inviting you to stay with us. Our coverage of Ranger baseball continues right after this.